Hello and welcome from Summer League. It's your host, William Liu, coming to you with the Raptors Reaction Podcast on the Hello and Welcome Podcast presented by Betway. We're here once again live from Las Vegas Summer League at the conclusion of a really tense game between the Raptors and the Denver Nuggets, the score being 84-81 in favor of Toronto. A couple bad things in this one, just to get him out of the way. Grady Dick twisted his ankle on a drive, and he left the game at halftime. And then Jonathan Mobo got clipped midair and kind of landed hard on his back. So he left the game in the third quarter. We'll get updates on those shortly. The Raptors are holding post-game scrums as we speak, and we'll get updates to you when we see them from the reporters. But, yeah, as for the game itself, like I mentioned, like a hard-fought game between the Raptors and the Denver Nuggets. The Denver Nuggets got they got some shooters on their team. I mean, they were really hot from three for the start of the game. Guys like Julian Strawther, he was really just continuously putting pressure on the Raptors defense. He played the majority of the game for Denver. He took the majority of the shots. Denver primarily going with the starting lineup, guys that they really want to showcase whether or not they can contribute to the Denver Nuggets roster, who obviously, they're in championship contention, and there's some young guys that they've added to their group here who they hope to be able to contribute, and Strawther definitely looked great. Certainly gave me a lot of Jordan Poole type of vibes in terms of good Jordan Poole championship season for the Warriors. Jordan Poole in terms of just the creativeness, the shiftiness as a shooting guard. But obviously we're here to talk about the Raptors more than anything else. And for the Raptors, it's a totally different approach. Very, very team-oriented Raptors, especially because of the injuries. But they went super deep into their bench, obviously the starting five. But Coach Jamal Shead also chooses to go with 8 players off the bench. So in total, the Raptors played 13 guys. And that was a big part of the battle in this game, was just to see like who can contribute, who can step up, what each player got, and also just managing the minutes on each front. And for the Raptors, it was a balanced effort. The starting lineup. What's up, Bobby Marks, friend of the program? Shout out Bobby Marks. Come in once again. He's gonna join the stream. Let's have Bobby Marks join the stream. Why not? Say hi to Bobby Marks. Bobby, just say hi to the group, guys.
How we doing, everyone? Good to see you.
What's going on? You got any Bruce Brown updates for us?
I've got nothing. I'm just trying to get some sleep updates.
Yeah, fair enough. Hey,
I'll see you during the week.
Hey, you going to the media party?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll see you in a couple hours. All right. Shouts to Bobby Marks for crashing the set. But like I mentioned, yeah, like the Raptors had a lot of guys contribute in this one. And, from that front, it was actually good to just get everyone to see sort of what they have. So Grady, first and foremost, continued to miss his threes. It's a little bit unfortunate. You can see the frustration at times with Grady. He was taking good shots. I know something that Jama mentioned, sort of a passing comment towards the post-game yesterday, was just sort of Grady's shot selection. I didn't have an issue with the shot selection, really. It just doesn't seem like his threes are going. A lot of those are, catch and shoot at the top of the floor, even motion sort of threes at the top of the floor. He's obviously better from the corners. He's very prolific from there. But these are shots that you see Grady make all the time. And I think that it's hard to just read into him being like 0 for 9 from 3 in Summer League. He's undeniably a really good shooter, and he's taking the right shots. To me, I like the aggressiveness. He was playing very physical. I don't know if that's necessarily what led him to get injured, quite frankly, but, he's chasing after his own rebounds. He was just playing really physical. And the drives are kind of there. You can see the initiative from him. The play where he injured himself, he missed a 3. He knew that he missed a 3. He followed his shot, and then he missed that. And upon landing, he was grabbing at his right ankle. But he was moving all right. He was kind of, just tying his shoelaces, trying to stay in there. So that wasn't as bad. Mobo's injury, I thought, was a little bit worse. He got clipped midair, and he fell on his back. So hopefully he's okay. The Raptors, luckily, they got 2 days off. But, you definitely don't want to see anybody risk anything. But with Grady, yeah, I mean, yesterday was definitely a lot more positive of a game. But, ultimately, it is what it is. And we'll just see. If he's not available to play the rest of Summer League, if Mobo's not available to the Summer League, that's obviously going to be a disappointment. But, it happens. You definitely just don't want to risk any injuries. Without those two guys, you saw the Raptors, look to other options here. I thought Jacoby Walter got more playing time here, in part because Grady got, banged up. Jacoby ended up playing 24 minutes. He had a couple of really nice moments. And, it was nice to see him create a little bit for himself off a mid-range pull-up, off a catch-and-shoot 3 later on. Argentina scored, hence the reaction. Hopefully Lionel Messi's okay. His ankle looked terrible. But, yeah, Jacoby Walter, you saw a little bit more from him offensively. You saw him draw a foul in the first play of the game. That's something that he obviously did in college as well, in addition to the fact that he was a really good shooter, but he was able to draw some fouls. And his defense on the ball I thought was really solid. Today was a much better game as compared to yesterday. Jacoby finishing with 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Ochai Agbaji, another guy that we've been tracking a little bit as well. But we have Ochai, here with 6 points on 26 minutes. Look, offensively, I know it's underwhelming, right? Because there are moments where, like, for example, him rising up for that dunk and bricking the dunk at the end of the game there, or even moments where, he's catching shooting from three, but he's well short. That's just something that's just not quite there for him. I mean, there's not a long history of him at all in the NBA level being able to create, at a prolific level in terms of as a scorer. I think defensively, that's where, for me, that was more disappointing because he got a lot of the matchup against Julian Strawther. And Ochai has 7 fouls in this game. Now, I mean, you got to go back on the film and look at maybe other guys were sort of out of position and maybe he had to take a foul a couple here or there. But, like, ultimately, Ochai was not strong on the offensive end or the defensive end. So, especially this being his third summer league, you would definitely want to see him get better and better. But we just haven't seen that quite yet from him. I know that, there's a little bit better than this from Ochai, but quite frankly, he has yet to show it in these 2 games. Jamal Shead, I think for me was just a huge standout. I know I've already established that I really, really admire Jamal's game. And, anybody who watched any of his play at Houston knows that he's a winning player. The program overall was very successful. And they had a lot of good players. They've graduated a lot of NBA players since then as well. But Jamal is a huge part of all of that, being the point guard, being the sort of person who, sets the personality, leads the defense on that front of the end of the floor. And Jamal tonight, I thought, was awesome in the second half, especially in the fourth quarter, because as you mentioned, no Grady, right? No Jonathan. Other guys stepping into the rotation here. Tyler Perry seeing the floor, and it wasn't Medea. And, you got a 3-minute run there where Jamal Shead, when the score was tied 65-65 in the fourth quarter, he hit a pull-up 3 at the end of a clock, right? They kind of dropped back on him, and he knocked down the 3 late clock. Then on the ensuing possession, he's fighting the ball handler and eats a moving screen to force a turnover. Then the next play down on offense, he drives, touches the paint, kicks it out to Javon Freeman-Liberty in the corner for a 3, knocks it down. That's already a 6-0 run. Next play down, the Nuggets actually get Jalen Pickett wide open under the basket, but Jamal rotates over and strips the ball before Jalen Pickett can go up for a layup, and that forced a stop there. And then a couple plays later, there was a free throw in favor of the Nuggets. They missed the second free throw, so it was a rebound. Shamche actually ultimately lost the rebounding battle, which he hasn't really done much of. He's been a really good rebounder. But he missed the rebounding battle there. And who comes in crashing from the three-point line? But Jamal, who comes in to help on the rebound, collects the loose ball. And then on the other end, he's playing one-on-one late clock. He has to get something up as the point guard, and he ended up getting fouled on a pull-up jumper, and he knocked down both. So I thought for me, like, even though Jamal only ended up playing 17 minutes, even though he only was able to play the start of the fourth quarter rather than closing out the fourth quarter, the Raptors ultimately chose some of their other point guards to close. Javon Freeman-Liberty closed. DJ Carton closed. Jamal did come in for a late possession at the end there for the stop. And that shows you obviously how much the coach trusts him in this situation, because it was a 3-point game and the Nuggets had the ball after a timeout, and Jamal was on the floor to make sure that he can get the stop. But for me, seriously, 17 minutes, and especially the impact plays, when you can string together like 5 or 6 winning plays in a row, it doesn't really matter the box score. For me, I'm loving Jamal Shead's game. And I was happy to see him showcase a little bit what he's got offensively, too. Super efficient, 3 of 4 for the field, 2 of 2 from 3. Again, if that 3-point shot hits, that's the upside for him, because everything else in his game is really, really at a high level. And you just love his defense. Even small things that you don't see in the box score, like turning the opposing ball handlers 2, 3, 4 times as they're bringing the ball up. That just drains the energy out of the other guys. Like, I would have loved to see him take some turns guarding Strawther in this game, too. I know Strawther's a little bit taller than him, but I think Jamal has ultimately dominated his defensive matchup each and every time down. So I want to show him a lot of love. Coming off the bench tonight, though, the Raptors, reached deeper into their bench. Javon Freeman-Liberty once again had a really strong scoring night. This time he didn't have to take every single shot that came to him, and I know that that's something that I obviously did not like about his game last night, but I thought tonight he was in a better balance. He still took quite a bit, a little bit too aggressive at times, driving 1-on-2 in transition, getting blocked, things like that where you can cut out. But ultimately, he was really important here. Made some big baskets, made 2 driving layups when the game was tight in the fourth quarter to sort of help the Raptors push ahead. And I know the game is not like, the game is not like, whether they win or lose, it doesn't change anything realistically, but that competitiveness for him to be able to come up with shots, to be able to create out of nothing, to be able to generate offense in a late game where it was heavily contested, like guys getting injured in this game. That's how hard they're playing. So you got to give it up to Javon. And, Javon getting himself to the foul line, making 3 of 4, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block. I think for me, it's just to catch and shoot threes. That was nice to see. Him going 3 of 6. I don't mind I really don't mind him getting more of those attempts up, because I think that's one of the limiting factors in his game is, can he be a really strong catch-and-shoot three-point shooter? Because ultimately, like, you want him to distribute, you want him to create a little bit, you want him to be able to defend, and you want him to be able to be a good off-ball player in addition to, the proven ability, which is him being able to slash and drive. And I just think he did a really good job tonight. He found a much better balance as compared to yesterday, so you got to give him his credit there. DJ Carton, was not as good as he was in game 1. He was 0 for 4 from 3. Took some good shots. It wasn't necessarily anything that was bad. He was still strong going to the basket. The Nuggets, unlike the OKC Thunder yesterday, apparently read the scouting report and knew that he was a left-handed player, so they didn't give him the easier drives to his left like OKC did. But DJ still is able to force his way into the paint, use his athleticism, cut. I think he did a good job of just balancing out the group. I mean, the starting of the game, the Raptors really didn't get off to a good start offensively. I thought Grady being slow didn't really help on that front. I thought that guys like, just the Ochai, guys just didn't start the game great as a starting group. But I thought DJ Carton was able to come in and make some good plays there. Had a great backdoor cut for a dunk as well. He's solid. I mean, that's kind of the backup point guard battle, or I guess not even the third string, because the Raptors kind of have, for me, like, Jamal is clearly ahead of these two other guys. And then Davion should be ahead of, the rest of them. Maybe him and Jamal is closer because they're kind of similar styles of players. Like, I know we love Jamal right now, but Davion is very similar to how Jamal plays. But, like, I guess these guys are sort of fighting for, like, 15 spots potentially. But in any case, like, DJ and Javon right now, I would say maybe DJ won the night yesterday and Javon won the night tonight. And we'll continue to see how that tracks in the course of Summer League. Ulrich Shamshay, you got to give it up to Ulrich because, it's funny because there are certain moments where you notice, like, how young and how raw he is, right? Because, like, you saw yesterday's game, the majority of Jama's, like, instructions from the sidelines where he's sort of yelling out at the team. The majority of that was directing Ulrich and sort of placing him all over the floor. This game was a lot of his point guards doing that. So it was like DJ Carton, coming, signaling for him to come screen and talking to him where he wants to come screen for him, and Javon doing the same thing. Now, of course, that's like standard stuff. Like, obviously, a point guard's going to call up who's going to screen, but you could definitely tell that they're doing it so much more with Ulrich and sort of like really trying to get him to be effective and read the game, when to flip the screen, what angle to use the screen at. You're going to go flat, you're going to use an angle, whatever, right? And those are very, very nuanced things that, I think Ulrich, just like most young bigs, would need some time to learn. But, you put that aside, the upside was really good. I mean, how about the fact that he confidently popped out for a 3 in the second half? Sometimes you just got to pop out and show them that you can have the 3, all right? That was for Alex Wong. He loves that line. He's also taking your questions, by the way, so you send them in the chat, and I'll answer some of them towards the end of the game here. Ulrich knocked down the 3. He didn't airball a free throw, which is a lot better. I know he only got 1 rebound here, but I thought he did a good job overall contesting on the glass. He had a really good help side block in the fourth quarter there, tight game, and the Raptors had a good defensive possession overall, but Ulrich kind of topped it off with a huge block, swatting it out of bounds. And he did a good job of just finishing. He had a left-handed finish as well, I think. But, yeah, it just didn't look out of place at all. And I think, again, you have to remember that Ulrich is the youngest player in this draft. Like, he might be the youngest player playing in this entire Summer League tournament, right? There's guys like Brandon Carlson, who's 25, right, on the same team as him. There's guys like Jay Huff, who I saw playing on the court at Cox Pavilion before the Raptors played the Nuggets. He was on the Orlando Magic. That guy's 26 with the bald spot. Like, you know what I mean? Like, Ulrich Shamshay is 18 years old, and he doesn't look out of place. I think that's a huge testament to sort of where he is right now. Speaking of it, the guy at center, though, Brandon Carlson, it did knock down the threes as well tonight, although a couple of those were just in and out. He continues to be really confident with those threes. He knocked down a mid-range pull-up for his other shot, which was nice to see. But I like the physicality, the compete that he brought on the defensive end. 7 defensive rebounds to lead the entire team, and also 6 blocks, which is just really impressive. I don't really remember him having 5 turnovers. Maybe I just got to go back on the film and see some of that. But, like, 6 blocks was really indicative of the fact that he was often often the guy coming over and helping at the rim. He had a tough matchup tonight. I thought, PJ Hall, the opposing player at center, a little bit undersized, but stronger than Brandon, was certainly able to knock down the three. And so he was a crafty matchup. It's a difficult matchup. He got the better of Brandon at times. But ultimately, yeah, I mean, you're talking about a player who can shoot the three and can block some shots at 7 feet tall. Like, I think Brandon has consistently looked really good in these 2 games here, and I'm excited to sort of see how he continues to track. But if he competes on the defensive end, that three-point shot definitely plays. And again, like, it doesn't really matter sort of how much upside is there. It's more about what he is right now. Because again, he's a very experienced player, and so far he's been a big positive in both games. I know somebody in the comments yesterday was talking about, on yesterday's recap, was talking about no love for Jamison Battle. Well, here it is. Shouts to Jamison Battle, number 77, just like Luka. All right, our Luka is Jamison Battle. And, he played 60 minutes, knocked down 3 threes, 4 of 6 from the field overall, the other one being a driving left-handed layup, which was nice to see from him. I mean, primarily he's a catch-and-shoot three-point shooter, but at the same time, you could put it on the floor just a little bit. Got good size. I wouldn't say he was particularly athletic. I saw, what was the comp? The guy from the Cavs. Why am I blanking on his name? The guy from the Cavs who used to be on the Sixers, knocks down threes from Iowa State. I don't know why I'm blanking on this. But in any case, maybe a little bit. I see it. I mean, he's certainly more in shape. But, his shooting touch has been strong. And for him to sort of just be on the Summer League roster and show and consistently be a nice, backup shooter for the team, he's been great. So I'm happy to this is also what Summer League's about, too. So you just randomly fall in love with, new players that you've seen for the first time. And he's done a good job with that as well. Georges Niang, thank you. Thank you, Jerome. I don't know how I'm blanking on Georges Niang, who is also my pickup basketball comp as well. No defense and just pulling up for three and being lazy in general. I don't think Jamison's like that, actually. I think Jamison, for me, is certainly more in shape than Georges Niang. Or myself, certainly for that matter. But yeah, ultimately it was a hotly contested game. It was really tight. The Nuggets went up double digits. The Raptors clawed back. Again, the Raptors suffered some injuries. It's really unfortunate to see Grady go down like that. Hopefully he's available to play. It's really unfortunate to see Mobo limp off the floor. I mean, he really fell hard on his back. I thought he was playing well in his minutes as well. Yeah, he only played 9, but he got a couple of stops. He got Strawther one-on-one on a switch, and again, Strawther had the flamethrower going. He had 32 points, but when Mobile switched that in one-on-one, he couldn't really get that shot off. By the way, just like towards the end of the game there, Strawther tried to attack Brandon Carlson one-on-one, and Carlson not only hung with Strawther, prevented him from driving downhill, even though it was a switch, supposed to be a mismatch, but Carlson ended up contesting really well and not fouling on Strawther's pull-up three, which was not close. So, again, on a night where he was cooking much, much better defenders like Ochai Agbaji, even Carlson as the center was able to switch out and force a good stop, which is really impressive for a big. But, yeah, Mobile did the same thing, which was really good. Pushed the break a couple of times, rolled to the basket. I think for me, it's pretty clear that him right now, he's more of a big than a wing. And I know maybe long-term they want to try to see if he could be a wing. But, for example, him coming off the bench right now, just being in the rotation, him and Ulrich Shamshay are the two backup bigs coming off the bench. When they both come off the bench together, there's just no shooting, right? And it's a little bit more difficult for Mobile to be in the pick and rolls because the opposing center's on Shamshay, so they're probably going to use Shamshay as a screener instead of Mobile. The one time they did use Mobile as a screener, they successfully connected on a pick and roll finish where he slipped to the basket and finished, I believe, with I don't know if it was left or right, but it was a rolling basket. I think that's, to me, like what he's going to do better of. Because if he's going to be a wing, he's definitely going to need to catch you from three. He took one late clock there because he just had to. But, clearly it wasn't something he was super comfortable with. And, for me, just seeing Jonathan, even things like when they're running the floor, right? He doesn't run all the way into the corner like most people do these days when they're running a fast break. Let's say it's a 3-on-1 fast break or a 3-on-2 fast break. Usually the person with the ball is in the middle of the floor and the other two people are spraying out to the corners, right? Usually bigs are the ones that are also running the lane and maybe catching a lob or something like that. But like Mobo, ran to that mid-range area instead of spacing out to the three, and I think that's just because he's not a confident three-point shooter. And when the ball did come to Mobo, he immediately up-faked and tried to go into a drive, and he ultimately traveled. But to me, again, that just says that he's just not a strong three-point shooter. But, we know that. We know that his skill set and his role so far to his career has been more of a big, right? Last year at San Francisco, what made him so successful was that he was kind of that Draymond, kind of small ball center, a hub type of player, not because he was a perimeter player or anything like that. But, tough battle there. I liked the way Jamba managed this game. Again, super positive. Again, super, just a really good communicator, I felt like. Used his timeouts well, things like that. Just managed the game well. And again, you got to see a lot of players step in here. And I know that, this is not the biggest thing in terms of just like how you manage a rotation in a game that's largely an exhibition. But I also like the fact that, you got to look at some of these other players who, like an Omar Moore, like a Tyler Perry, with an O, Tyler with an O, not Tyler with an E. But like, yeah, I mean, these guys got some run, and ultimately they are here. They are, you don't owe them playing time, but it also looks good on your organization when you can take in guys and give them a chance and showcase what they got, like a Jamison Battle, for example. Maybe it doesn't sound with the Raptors long term, but ultimately that could be another. There's tons of scouts in here. Like, you're seeing scouts from like every league in the world in here. Shouts to Keeks taking a photo of the stream as well. But like, you give these guys a shot, and whether or not they end up on your roster, it's still ultimately good for their careers as well, because you never know who's watching, because there's literally just tons of scouts. There's like maybe 20% fans in the crowd, probably like 40% team personnel, probably like 20% media, and then the rest is just like scouts from the rest of the world. And so good stuff, honestly. Raptors, two really, really promising wins here. You just really want to know that guys are healthy and that they're okay. What's going on? Are you coming on the stream? What's happening? All right. Well, Director Jerome has instructed Karthika from TSN to come on the stream. What's going on?
Oh, hey guys, how's it going? How's the stream?
The stream's fun. I mean, you can see people commenting and stuff like that. Yeah, someone just said shout out Jerome. Salute to Jerome.
Jerome's the best, guys.
Yeah. Who's the most random Raptor that you've run into so far at Summer League?
That I've run into. Junkyard Dog was here. I don't know if that's random, but it's a little throwback.
Did you bark at him?
No, I didn't.
I feel like it's not culturally acceptable to bark at people.
No, I don't think it's normal. Okay. It's a little weird.
Well, JYD loves that stuff. Yeah, he was sitting courtside with Chris Boucher.
Yeah, Chris Boucher was here. Nobody else came, though. It's kind of weird.
I think Davion was here, Davion Mitchell. But most of the other guys cleared out,
Yeah, they did. I get it. Day 2, back-to-back. I'm tired, too.
Do you have a cool stat to share with us?
I have one random fun fact. Brandon Carlson was a block away from tying a Summer League record.
Really?
6 blocks. Record is 7.
Wow, impressive.
There you go.
And more impressive that you came up with that on the spot. Thank you.
I was thinking about it. I didn't tweet it, so I decided to use it here.
Okay.
There you go.
Well, I appreciate you for joining the stream. Where can people follow you again?
Twitter, @KirthikaU. Except it's hard to spell, so maybe Jerome can tell you where it is later. Okay,
maybe we'll drop it in the chat or something. All right. Well, this is the first time I've interviewed someone from TSN in a long time, because back then we have a cold detente.
There was a war. Yeah. And now you are away from the war.
I'm neutral. I'm Switzerland.
You're Switzerland.
Yeah. There you go.
There you go.
All right. Well, thank you, and have a safe flight home.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll see you back in Toronto. Yeah. Okay. This was great. Let's take a couple of questions, producer Alex. I don't know what you got over there, but let's put a couple questions on the stream. There you go. First one from Daniel Lawley. Danioli. Sorry, man. I got bad vision. Okay. What's with the Raptors keep training short point guards? Are short point guards better than the tall ones? I think this is interesting because obviously the Raptors have had quite a few of these, right? Like, you got Fred VanVleet, you got guys like Kyle Lowry, Malachi Flynn, a little bit short as a point guard as well. Obviously last year, Marquise Noel, who, by the way, is playing for Washington's team. He's off their bench. But yeah, like, the Raptors clearly have drafted a couple of short point guards here. But I think for me, it's like they're looking at point guards who are really complete, and maybe the one reason they're not getting picked, or the one reason they're being overlooked, is the fact that they're short. And I think the Raptors, analytically, they'll look at certain players, and maybe it's like that scene in Moneyball, right, where like they don't sign a guy because of some sort of random abnormality or something that's like a little bit sort of nitpicky. The Raptors clearly don't mind if a guy's short if they can provide the rest of the things. You look at Jamal, right? Like first of all, lots of teams were interested in Jamal. Like, the Raptors were not the only team, right? But you see all the winning qualities, and usually when I don't know. I mean, I don't mind the fact that they're able to overlook one thing or the other if there's something really good in the overall package. And so, yeah, I mean, it does create some size issues. It definitely creates some offensive issues, right? Like, it's not like Jamal is like able to create all the time one-on-one. He's more of a pass-first point guard, and he's a little bit more limited. But still, defensively, he's not a mismatch against anybody. And, yeah, but I think that's just a strategy. The Raptors see certain players who are analytically, like, excellent, and they're able to overlook maybe some of the more obvious blemishes. You know what I mean? So, next question, Alex Wong, what you got? Michael Austin, who do you think has the potential to have the biggest impact off the bench from what you've seen so far in Summer League? Yeah, rotation-wise, I didn't think I would say this coming into the year, but I really wouldn't be surprised at all if Brandon Carlson gets some time. For me, like, he's bringing a shot blocking presence. Like, as Keeks talked about, he almost matched a Summer League record with 7 blocks, right? He had 6 blocks tonight. Like, that's really, really strong. He's showcased that portion of his game. He's got the 3-point shot down, and he's not really making bad decisions out there. Right? He's collaborating. He's playing within the team game, and the Raptors obviously need a backup center. I know Kelly's there, and he nominally plays center, but we know that he's just not a strong rebounder. We know he's not a shot blocker at all. Maybe he'll take a charge and sort of fall over, but, like, that just wasn't enough, right? So maybe I would love to see another big play with them. Now, I think maybe coming out of the draft, I thought it would be Jonathan Mobo. I thought Mobo, could be able to compete at just a little bit more, but I think he's probably he's definitely more raw offensively as compared to Brandon Carlson. Brandon Carlson. So honestly, he for me, he would be one of those guys. Jamal Shead, whether you play Jamal Shead or Davion Mitchell, it's kind of two of the same coming off the bench. I genuinely wouldn't mind either guy. But yeah, I know we're all really enamored with Jamal right now, but Davion is a very, very similar player who has a track record of doing it in the NBA level. So I think he's going to get seniority on that front. But yeah, honestly, Brandon Carlson, man, surprised with the Summer League so far, at least from the Raptors side. All right, next question. Phase B asks Drew Scott or Scott Drew. Yo, honestly, I'll tell you this, okay? I know people love like shitting on the reporters in the scrums, and I'm not saying we always do a great job or anything like that. But a lot of times you get a player showing up, they come to your scrum, you don't necessarily know who's going to come in advance. You try to keep the conversation going, and once in a while, you just got to step in there and come up with a question on the spot. Now, that's my bad for calling his coach Drew Scott, a.k.a. or Scott Drew, the property brother. But, yeah, it happens. But obviously I know who that is. I mean, we literally had him on the Hello and Welcome podcast as we talked about Jacoby, as we talked about Davion Mitchell. But, yeah, honestly, I know there's never any sympathy for reporters, but I promise you we're just regular people who have a brain fart once in a while. Ended up asking a bad question here or there, but yeah, shout out to Coach, man. Shout out to Coach. I'm just gonna call him Coach from now on. Yeah, watch the interview, by the way. Seriously, he gave a really great perspective on both his Baylor players, who obviously are on the Raptors now, and his energy was also really great. He said, "What did he say, man? Go north." He might have said, "Go north." Yeah. Next question, Alex. What else we got, man? What else you got in that stream? 2J, aka. A hand that Alex is probably hitting on at the blackjack table. All right. You guys see Christian Coloco has been approved to play. So I've been trying to ask around to just see what the total scenario is there. It's unclear to me whether he's been approved to play by the NBA board, which I think has to approve everyone who to be medically sound to play, or if it was just approved healthy by his agency. I'm not questioning the reporting out there. For me, like, when I've asked around, I haven't got a clarity on that front. But yes, he was there with the Raptors. Well, not with the Raptors. He was. Well, actually, I guess he was with the Raptors because he was sitting with the Raptors team and executives and stuff like that. He's obviously not on the roster. I don't even think the Raptors have like restricted rights or anything like that. But ultimately, the Raptors are a team that really believes in Christian. They've checked in on Christian over the years. And for me, more than anything else, besides the Raptors angle, I just want to see Christian like healthy and available to play. He's a really promising young player. I had the chance to interview him when he was a rookie. He was really well spoken. You could tell that there was something there. And, of course, as a rookie, he showcased that he could block shots. He showcased a bit of a touch from three-point range. Obviously, he wasn't the most skilled offensive player just yet in terms of just, like, overall impact. But, like, at the same time, he could really block shots. He was athletic, 7 foot tall. And, again, he was a good kid. So I just want him to be available to play, even if it's not with the Raptors or anyone else. But I'm going to try to ask around and get more clarity on that front. But in any case, it looks promising. And, you just definitely want to see anybody's career cut off short, right, because of a medical concern. And especially for a young player who hasn't necessarily made his money yet. But shouts to Christian. It was good to see him. And, I would love to get a bigger, just more clarity, maybe something more definitive than anything else. Maybe we'll take one more question, and we'll hand out 3 stars and wrap it up because we do have some Summer League parties to attend here in Las Vegas with friend of the program, Bobby Marks, apparently. All right, last one here from Kira Doyle. Which Summer League player is closest to an egg McMaster breakfast sandwich? Yo, this is crazy. It's such a deep cut, man. Honestly, at McMaster, the only things that I remember I had a million Nita pitas. I don't know if you guys were if you guys are really tapped in like that at McMaster, but Nita pita over there in the West End, I believe, of the school, that was like a go-to option. That's my version of Pascal's spin move, or like, LeBron looking at his hand before pulling up for 3. Like the Nita pita was fire. I don't know, like I don't think I had breakfast sandwiches. Honestly, in university, I was skipping breakfast because I was poor. So yeah, but yeah. That's my comment. But shout out to McMaster, and it's a wonderful school if you don't want to attend school in Toronto for some reason. Anyway, to wrap up, your 3 stars from tonight's performance. Thanks everyone for sending in questions. First star, I'm gonna give it to Jamal Shead once again. Jamal, for me, again, it's just that stretch there because the game was tied 65-65. The Raptors made this comeback push against the Nuggets, but the Nuggets clearly had the best player in the game in Strawther, and it wasn't clear if it was one of those comebacks where you spend all your energy clawing back and then you just don't finish the deal. Jamal made sure when the game was tied to make a series of plays. Like I mentioned, the pull-up 3 at the end of a shot clock, the moving screen that he fought through to draw the foul for the turnover. He then made another play on offensively, driving and kicking to Javon Freeman-Liberty for the corner 3. Then he got fouled going for 2 free throws. Then he made another play defensively. I just thought Jamal is just such a winning player, man. I already love this kid. I can't wait to interview this guy if I got a chance to, because for me he's just winning basketball personified, man. Like seriously, he is an excellent player, and I'm very happy the Raptors took him with the 45th pick. Your second star. I'm going to give it to Jacoby, man. I thought Jacoby really bounced back in a really strong way. Really confident with the shot tonight. A couple baskets in the fourth quarter. Yes, he had a bad play where he tried to force a drive and he got stripped, and the Nuggets scored on the other side. But those are young mistakes. Those will happen. But you saw him tonight really competing on defense. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Could certainly get better on defense. Could get better on a lot of things. But you saw, more of his offensive skill set tonight. So shouts to him. And then your third star, part of me wants to give it to Ulrich Shamshay. Part of me wants to give it to Jamison Battle. But, I thought Javon Freeman-Liberty in some tight moments was really able to create some offense for the Raptors, especially in that fourth quarter range there. 5 of 10, 3 of 6 from 3, 3 of 4 from the foul line, 5 rebounds, 2 assists, a steal, a block. Just competed, did a better job overall playing his game. And, we'll see sort of more from him in Summer League. Again, hopefully Grady and Jonathan are okay. Producer Alex, were there any injury updates on those guys, or no official updates? Well, we'll see what happens with those guys. But your Gerald Henderson Award winner, obviously that's going to go. Well, yeah, it's got to go to Julian Strawther, man. The guy had 32 points, but still, that was not an easy opponent. And the Nuggets certainly showed up with a lot of guys. They primarily played their starters, and the Raptors went deep in their bench, but the Raptors still pulled through. So thanks everyone for listening. Please continue to follow Hello and Welcome Pod wherever you do your social, whether that's Twitter or Instagram or TikTok or whatever. But Facebook, we got Facebook. You know that? There's a YouTube page. Obviously, follow that. That's the most important one. But we're showing great growth, and we're out here in Summer League trying to give you as much content as possible. So appreciate everyone for listening. Thanks to everyone for commenting on the live stream. That really helps just our engagement overall, but also in general, it's just kind of cool to be able to talk back and forth with people. And, Raptors 2-0 in Summer League, man. They say the Raptors are back, and by they, I mean me. So thanks everyone for listening. You've been listening to the Hello and Welcome podcast presented by Betway.